Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marty.
I'm WWE Hall of Famer, the Godfather.
AEW Dynamite is just wrapping up. It's Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Get on board. The train is leaving the station. Stand by.
Wrestling fans, get ready for a weekend of the unpredictable as the Berzerker, John Nord, returns to MWF Studios in Melrose the weekend of Saturday, January the 22nd. Wrestling Insider Throwback Thursday tapings, live episodes, watch-alongs, cyber autograph signings, and more. Boston Wrestling Patreon fans can meet the Berzerker for free. For more information and mail order info, head on over to thebostonwrestling.com super site now. Don't miss the Berzerker, January 22nd. Wrestling fans, we warned you this day would come. Unfortunately, we're running out of original episodes of Wrestling Insider's Party with Marty each and every Thursday night at 10 p.m., but we're starting up that Indiegogo. You can help the cause. You can help Marty's show continue each and every week. Nobody does it like Marty. We had an incredible time with him at our 20th anniversary bash, November 13th at Memorial Hall here in Melrose. We want to have the good times keep on rolling, but we can't do it without you. Look for the Indiegogo link in the comment section below or across our website and social media platforms. We have some great perks, great rewards where you can even meet Marty himself. There's nothing like it. Since July of 2020, every week we've brought you the show. We need your help to keep on going. We tell you, without wrestling fans, there is no professional wrestling, and there's no better time to help the cause now. Let's keep Marty rocking each and every Thursday night. Wrestling fans looking for the perfect holiday gift? Discount VIP packages and tickets to Boston Wrestling's Soul Survivor 10 Back to the 80s, Saturday night, April the 16th at Memorial Hall in Melrose, Massachusetts are on sale now. Join WWE Hall of Famer Jake the Snake Roberts, three-time WWE Tag Team Champions Axe and Smash Demolition, The Wild Berzerker, and more 1980s legends to be announced. Take part in a VIP exclusive Q&A session. Meet the wrestling icons up close and personal in an autograph and photo fan fest. Then get ready as the superstars and legends of yesterday, today, and tomorrow take part in a night of white-hot in-ring action. Discount VIP packages and tickets are on sale now for a limited time at bostonwrestling.com. Join us for a professional wrestling reunion decades in the making, April the 16th.
This is Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there live.
Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marty along with the Godfather. It has been a minute since we've seen you, my fine friend. Very happy to have you back with us. How are things going?
Man, I have been blessed. Things are going great. Life is good. I'm just living the dream, brother. Just living the dream, having the time of my life.
I think you've been living the dream most of your
Things haven't changed much for me. I don't have the hose with me all the time anymore, but I'm still having a lot of fun, man. Things haven't changed. I'm still, believe me, I'm still the Godfather.
Now, you have left your gentleman establishment that used to be a big part of the Cauliflower Alley Club reunion. As we honor the wrestling greats, everyone would go and visit you and some of your female friends at the Cheetah Club. What got you out of that?
Well, we sold Cheetahs 3 years ago.
Oh, did you?
About a year before the pandemic hit, we sold it. And that kind of took me out of the business. But yes, the Cauliflower Alley Club and Cheetahs had a lot. We got to keep that quiet, but there was a lot of good times at the old Cheetah Club.
I remember how many of those limousines and party buses used to pull up around 10:30. The Gold Coast didn't know what was going on.
Oh my
They're
God.
not used to limousines at this place, but
Good times, though.
Good times.
And the guys would get there at 10 o'clock at night, and the last man standing would be there at 7 in the morning because we were open 24 hours. But I mean, they had a competition who was the last man standing. I don't know who won it every year, but it was one like at 7, 8 the next morning.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun. A lot of great memories out of that for adult reasons. But and now you told me earlier you're involved with the talk show. You're involved with different products. I don't know if you want to mention that to the fans or even promote it to them.
Yeah, well, I have in California, I have my own legal strain of cannabis. It's with Dr. Green Thumb, who is Be Real and Cypress Hill. They have a bunch of dispensaries, I think 8 altogether in California. So I have my own strain there. I have my own strain, which is, it's no longer the hoe train, it's the smoke train.
The smoke train, I like that.
Yes.
I like that.
The smoke
I
train.
just noticed that.
Yes, and so I have my own cannabis products, and everything I'm doing is legal. I don't do anything underground. I'm here in Vegas. I have some pre-rolls coming out. I'm really involved. I do a lot of wrestling functions. I do a lot of cannabis functions. I do a lot of speeches because the fact that my whole story on cannabis is crazy and wild. And I tell that story, and I just basically tell people, I don't ever try to get people to smoke cannabis. My more thing is, I want to tell you what it's done for me. And maybe it can do it for you. I don't know. It's not for everybody.
Well, you know, my body is unfortunately physically disabled from that car accident I was in with the sheets. So, you know, I have had people suggest, some more aggressively than others, that there are ways it can help. It's funny, even during Rob Van Dam's speech, it actually came up at the Cauliflower Alley Club. I don't know if you would imagine that would come up during one of Rob's speeches.
Rob, really?
But he said it can actually lead to you leading a longer life. I don't know if you know anything about that, but I found that to be fascinating, if true.
It saved my life. At 27 years old, I was Papa Shango. I was going through just a really horrible divorce. And I tried it for the first time at 27 years old. And at that time, I'm taking Somas, Vicodins, Vicodins, Lacidils, Percocets, Halcyons, A to Z, right? And I'm taking them like vitamins, plus drinking a bottle of Jack Daniels a day. I tried cannabis. Now I'll still have a shot now and then in a beer, but I take no prescription medicine. I think it's either a leave or Advil is what the strongest. I think it's a leave. I'll do that, but no more prescription drugs whatsoever. I'm 60 years old now.
Really?
And yeah,
wow, okay.
Yeah. And I think it's preserved me. I think it saved me, and it's all around made me a better person.
Well, that's great.
Yeah,
that's great. Now, is there anything available online where fans can get information on it, or is there a way to access the podcast?
Unfortunately, it can't be sold through the mail. It can't be advertised that way.
Okay.
You have to be in California to buy it.
Okay.
And it's all throughout from Sacramento, San Francisco, LA, San Diego. There's a bunch of dispensaries, but you have to buy it in person.
But fans in California can certainly Google it.
Yes, they can. Yes, they can.
And what about the podcast that you're involved in?
I do the Dr. Green Thumb podcast. That's B-Rose podcast. It's on 2 p.m. till 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday through Friday. I try to make it in there 2 or 3 times a week. If I don't make it in there, I do a Zoom. But we have a good time. They have a thing called the Asylum, and it's really cool. They really welcome me in there, and I don't let them down, believe me.
Isn't it nice to have some happy guests? I mean, you know, sometimes we have them on and they're bitter and they're angry. And like D-Lo, you're smiling from ear to ear. I love it.
Yeah.
I won't tell you the first word that came out of Kevin Sullivan's mouth last night.
I can imagine.
That's a long story. Someone took a shot at him at one of the speeches and he wasn't happy. But
well, yeah, I stay away from all that.
The Boston in him came out.
I stay out of all that, and I just kind of do like I always have. I kind of just do my thing. And
well, he's following you on social media. You can tell that you're a man that enjoys, life now. Yeah,
I do. And I'm an empty nester for, the first time in my life. We have no kids. My youngest was 18. We just sent him off to college. So this is actually the first time. And I've been married 23 years. This is the first time that we've actually been empty nesters. We live alone. Because when I married her, I had a kid, she had a kid. And so we've never lived alone. And she's been in Peru the last 3 weeks. So.
Oh, wow. Is she looking for a new place? Or?
No, she's into the ayahuasca and the shamans. And
oh, wow.
She was out there just having a good time. She was supposed to get back today, but her flight's been delayed now until Saturday.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I need her home.
After 3 weeks, you must be missing.
I do miss her. The dogs are really missing her. They're not used to it.
The pets don't know how to handle it.
Oh my God.
The pets don't know how to handle it.
The dogs are just waiting at the door because I kept telling them, Mommy's coming home today. And they just waiting, looking at the door. And I had to tell them last night, oh, she's not coming home. But yeah, I miss her, but the dogs are really missing her a lot.
Now, if you were to move out of this fine city, where is it do you think you'd go?
Right now, if I were to move, I think I'd go up north, as into Washington, Oregon, maybe even Denver. I'm looking for something. I want to stay on the West Coast. I won't mind the rain because here in the desert, I've been here since 1984.
Wow.
Yeah, I just got out of college, and I'm tired of the heat and the humid. Now it used to be no humidity here. Now, I mean, on a bad day, you could be 118 with 50% humidity, and that's just, it's unbearable. So I want to get out of this.
Well, let me tell you, we would kill for 50% humidity in the summer back in Boston. You know what? For you guys to reach that high, that is high from what I know it to be.
It's hot. And
Yeah.
at night, it's just as bad. At hot night, it'll be 105.
Yeah, we went up to the Strip the other night. My God, it was, I couldn't believe it.
It's to the point where I can't take it. Pretty soon, I'm going to kind of retire and just kind of disappear. Probably next couple of years. So.
I mentioned that Kevin was a little hot under the collar when he showed up the other night, but he lives on a very remote island up in Washington State. And
Oh, yeah?
as a guy that came from Key West, he absolutely loves it out there. Loves it out there. So, you know, that might be a place for you to look, Washington State. I know a lot of people, because it's so far north, like Minnesota,
Right.
Maine, Massachusetts, and places like that, you know, you almost expect it to be snowy and wintry and things like that. But no, most of Washington is not. It's almost like Colorado. I mean, outside of the mile-high city, it's not a place where there's a heck of a lot of snow and things
You're
like
right.
that.
I could actually end up in Reno. It's where I went to school. Reno is nothing like Vegas. It's not the
Did you?
desert. You're up in the Sierra Nevada. It's Tahoe. It's really beautiful up there. But I'm definitely, I actually want to, Stone Cold lives out right out of Reno.
Oh, does he?
Yeah,
Oh, he's in Nevada?
Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. That's where he does his podcasts out of. He does it from his house. They built him a
Wow,
studio
cool.
in one of his houses. Yeah, but he lives out there. I didn't know that either until I went there and did the podcast. But it
Oh,
reminded
you were
me.
on his show on
Yeah.
WWE. Oh, that was out of his house?
Yeah, that's out of his house.
Oh, wow, that's really
Yeah, it's
cool.
about 45 minutes out of Reno.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
that's really nice.
And I forgot how beautiful it was there.
Yeah,
And
that is,
so,
I've only
but-
been there once, but that's a nice
Yeah.
area. Yeah.
So I want to live someplace where at 9 o'clock at night, everything's shut down. You go to the market on Sundays to buy your vegetables. And I just want to chill and kind of just me, my wife, and my dogs. And just kind of, you know, I want a stream or a lake up someplace really close, probably a couple acres, 3-bedroom little house, and just kind of maybe grow my little funny plants and do my thing.
Now, do you think the son father, once he's out of college, would want to stay here, or do you think he'd
Oh, he's, no. All of
This
my
is
kids,
him?
they just couldn't wait to get out of that.
Really?
I still have a daughter that lives here,
Mm.
but the rest of them got out. I have 2 sons that live in Florida. Now, Ty, no, they don't come back. Because once you get out of Vegas, you see that there's, I mean, nothing wrong with Vegas, but it's the desert.
Yeah.
It's the desert, and they built this community in the desert. There's no mountains, it's the desert, and I'm tired of the desert.
I got you. I got the feeling off of that. As we're in the first segment, you mentioned you've been here for quite a bit, but tell us about a young you. Obviously, you weren't born here in Las Vegas. Where did Charles Wright come into the world?
I was born at Stanford Hospital in Palo Alto, Stanford University. I was born right there. Raised in Sunnyvale, California, which is now Silicon Valley, where my parents bought a house in 1971 for $17,000. It's worth almost $3 million. That's how much property is out there.
Wow.
I
Do
was
they still have it?
yes. and
Wow,
They're both
good
still
for
alive.
them.
God bless
Yeah,
them.
exactly.
My dad's, I think, 91, and my mom's 87, but
Oh, wow.
they're still doing good. And I was in high school from 76 to 79. So I moved out in 80 to go to the University of Nevada, Reno, and I basically never went back.
You've been in Nevada in some way, shape, or form. ever since.
I mean, after college, a friend of mine's dad owned the Topless Club out here, and I was working, making like I don't remember, maybe a couple $100, $200-300 a week after taxes. And I came out here, and my friend's like, my dad owns a strip club out here, and the guys make $300-400 a day. And I'm like, what? I went home. I was married. I went home, told my wife, we're moving to Las Vegas. And basically that's how it went. And I've always done pretty well. We had a house at the time, 2 cars, a Harley, and I worked for a trucking company for a short time. So they moved me out here, and I've been out here ever since.
Oh, wow.
But what a lot of people don't know is I was a basketball player. 1979, I was Mid-Peninsula Basketball Player of the Year. And
Really?
that's Palo Alto, Oakland. I averaged my senior year, I averaged 20 points and 20 rebounds a game.
Wow.
And but my problem is I didn't want to play basketball. I wanted to play football.
Oh.
And the reason I was always a skinny kid. When I got out of high school, I was like 185 pounds, 6'5", 185. But I could jump. I mean, I high jumped in high school too. And so I always wanted to play football, but my mom and dad wouldn't sign the waivers because they said, you're going to get hurt. Just play basketball.
Yep.
So I played basketball very aggressively.
Were you a regular forward, power
No,
forward?
I was a center.
Oh, you were the
But I
center,
was a
really?
2-foot jumper, and I could literally touch the top of the square over the basket. I could take one step, go up and touch it.
Wow.
I could really jump.
Yeah.
And I played center, and then I was just more physical. But then I got a scholarship to play basketball in college. But they didn't know that I played center. I never learned how to face the basket. I always had the basket to my back, and I would just overpower people. So long story, I started lifting weights while I'm under a basketball scholarship. I went from 180 to 250 overnight.
Wow.
Because back then, basketball players weren't allowed to lift weights. We weren't allowed to.
Really?
No.
It was prohibited.
They said it's going to ruin your game, your shot. You didn't lift any weights. You weren't allowed in the workout room.
Wow. I never knew that.
So no, back then they did not. At least at our school, the coaches didn't want you. It's going to make you bulky. It's going to make you slow. So when I got to college, I started lifting weights, and I just swole up.
How did they react to you getting so big? Were they angry? Or?
I started hanging out with the football players and kind of not going to practice and kind of doing my own thing. And then one of the coaches from St. Mary's College in Moraga, he went to Reno and he told Coach Hall, hey, we got this basketball player that can dunk a basketball. He's 270 pounds. He can bench press 400 pounds. And he's got feet on him. He can move his feet. He's maturity quick. So I flew to Reno. I met the coach. They put a basketball in my hand. Now I'm starting my sophomore year in college now.
Okay.
Now I'm 270, and I'm
Wow.
like really powerlifting, and I have nothing to do with basketball anymore. So they gave me a basketball, and I'm dunking, and I'm shooting, and I'm dunking. They gave me a full ride scholarship to UNR, University of Nevada, Reno, where I had never ever played tackle football besides playing with friends with pads and all that.
Uh-huh.
Never ever played. They gave me a full ride scholarship. They said, we're going to redshirt you this year. They'll give us 3 more years for you. We'll be able, yeah.
And how did it go?
I was doing pretty good. I got the first team and blew out my knee. And after I blew out my knee, things kind of started going in a different direction. I started, because I was hurt really bad, so I had a Harley.
Did
So
you?
I started hanging out, working at strip clubs. And for extra money, I was bodyguarding strippers that were doing,
Really?
bachelor parties. I'm working in the clubs at night. Started getting tattooed. I just kind of changed. And so finally, I used to fight a lot. I used to get in a lot of fights. And so finally, to make a long story short, they got tired of me, and they're like, hey, we got to let you go, man. You're just a little bit too much for you to handle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that's where I got the name the Bear. You always hear Undertaker. People say, that's Bear. That's the Bear.
That's how I had known you, as
Yeah.
Bear.
That's
Yeah,
Bear.
Yeah.
Big Bear.
And it stuck with you.
And
Yeah.
to this day,
To this day.
most people in Vegas call me Bear. They don't call me Godfather.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
All right, wrestling fans. Fun introduction to this show. Great to have Godfather back with us. Right now, we're going to take a brief time out. We're going to talk more about his introduction into the world of the king of sports, professional wrestling. Stand by.
Wrestling fans, we warned you this day would come. Unfortunately, we're running out of original episodes of Wrestling Inside His Party with Marty each and every Thursday night at 10 p.m., but we're starting up that Indiegogo. You can help the cause. You can help Marty's show continue each and every week. Nobody does it like Marty. We had an incredible time with him at our 20th anniversary bash, November 13th at Memorial Hall here in Melrose. We want to have the good times keep on rolling, but we can't do it without you. Look for the Indiegogo link in the comment section below or across our website and social media platforms. We have some great perks, great rewards where you can even meet Marty himself. There's nothing like it. Since July of 2020, every week we've brought you the show. We need your help to keep on going. We tell you, without wrestling fans, there is no professional wrestling, and there's no better time to help the cause now. Let's keep Marty rocking each and every Thursday night. Wrestling fans looking for the perfect holiday gift? Discount VIP packages and tickets to Boston Wrestling Soul Survivor 10 Back to the 80s, Saturday night, April the 16th at Memorial Hall in Melrose, Massachusetts are on sale now. Join WWE Hall of Famer Jake the Snake Roberts, three-time WWE Tag Team Champions Axe and Smash Demolition, The Wild Berzerker, and more 1980s legends to be announced. Take part in a VIP exclusive Q&A session. Meet the wrestling icons up close and personal in an autograph and photo fan fest. Then get ready as the superstars and legends of yesterday, today, and tomorrow take part in a night of white-hot in-ring action. Discount VIP packages and tickets are on sale now for a limited time at bostonwrestling.com. Join us for a professional wrestling reunion decades in the making, April the 16th.
It hits different live with WWE Super Show. Don't miss an epic main event.
Drew McIntyre and Kofi Kingston, King Woods, The New Day, Roman Reigns, and the Usos in a six-man tag team match.
Will the new arrivals on the Blue Brand disrupt the dominance of the Bloodline? It's WWE Super Show in Boston, Sunday, January 9th. Tickets and Superstar Experience packages on sale now.
Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marty.
And I'm Mr. USA WWE Hall of Famer Tony Atlas.
The road to WrestleMania has begun. Wrestling fans are looking to add to their man caves. You got to see what we have in the eBay store.
Check it out.
Support wrestling insiders and keep wrestling legends working on eBay. At Survivor Series, it was champion versus champion as WWE champion Drew McIntyre battled Universal champion Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman. Get this 11x14 poster autographed by all three men. Limited edition, number 42 of only 50, with authentication hologram on the back of the poster itself. Comes with a mystery autographed 8x10 photo and an on-air shout-out from WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas on Wrestling Insiders at your house. Get it now.
All right, wrestling fans, welcome back to Wrestling Insiders. Dan Marty here in The Godfather. We thank you for joining us and spending some of your Wednesday night with us here after AEW Dynamite. We'd love your thoughts on the show. On the right-hand side of the screen, we have the little premiere chat going to share your thoughts on this interesting individual. The super chat button is always open to help us keep the lights on, and even the simple things. Give us a thumbs up, and you can hit the subscribe button. It's absolutely free. We have over 2,000 free videos you can enjoy now and new content 7 days a week. So we talked about your early life, your college sports career, or maybe at the end, the lack thereof, on how it ended up. What was it about professional wrestling? Were you a fan growing up? Did you?
You're not going to, well, you might believe this.
I'll believe it. I believe anything.
I was not a fan of wrestling.
Ever?
No, I wouldn't say ever. I just
Well,
didn't.
up until that point.
I never, I was, mind you, I came up in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And in the Bay Area, roller derby was much bigger than
Oh,
wrestling.
that's right. Yeah.
The
yeah,
Cow
roller
Palace,
derby.
Civic Auditorium. Wrestling would come there and you had Haystack Calhouns and people like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they would draw half a house, and roller derby was there twice a week. They were there Friday and Saturday nights. They sold the place out. Back in the early 70s, roller derby was much bigger than wrestling.
What was the lady's name that was like the Hogan of roller derby?
Oh, I
remember.
forget.
I read an article about her, and she passed
So,
away
yes.
maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And I read an article about her, and it was fascinating because I really didn't know anything about it at roller derby other than it existed.
I have a friend now that skates for the T-Birds. They still.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they're based out of here in Las Vegas.
Where do they play? Play the right
Not
way?
here. They usually go to San Francisco,
Uh-huh.
San Jose, Sunnyvale, that Northern California. It's still over there. I mean, they draw like a small house show would draw, but I mean, they draw and they have a good time. And you still have a lot of those old names. It's 50 over 50 years that I was watching it, so I forgot most of the names. But how I got into wrestling was they were filming a movie called Over the Top. It was a Sylvester Stallone arm wrestling movie. I think Scott Norton was in it, and other wrestlers were extras in it.
Mm-hmm.
I worked at a club, a strip club called the Crazy Horse Saloon. and I was the manager, bouncer, bartender, everything. That's how it was back then. They had sawdust on the floor of this place. There was a lot of fighting, but I used to like to fight, so I was the perfect place
Wasn't
for me.
bothering you, yeah.
Well, a lot of those guys would come into the club and drink. It was right down the street from the MGM, just a few blocks from the MGM. And
So they were taping this in Vegas?
yes,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it was done at the MGM here in Vegas. And so they would say, dude, and I'm just jacked. Now I'm Big Bear. Now I'm 320, and I'm bench pressing 550 pounds, and I'm squatting 600 pounds, and pulling 700 pounds.
Wow.
And I'm big. I mean,
Big.
I can send you pictures, and you'll be like, oh, I see what you
Send
mean.
them along. We can do
Yeah, I
inserts
mean,
over
you
these
can show this,
conversations.
and you'll be like, oh my God, that's you. I actually lost weight to get into wrestling.
Wow.
And so they're like, I'm like, well, they said, you ever think about wrestling? I'm like, not really. And they're like, well, you ever hear of Bam Bam Bigelow? And I'm more of a biker now. I'm all tatted up and riding Harleys and like I always have.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, yeah, the dude with the tattoos on his head. They said, well, he made $1 million last year. And I went, how much? And so I started thinking about it. And back then, man, I was just big, strong, young, dumb, and you know the rest, man. Just big and strong, crazy. And I made a call to Larry Sharp, God rest his soul. And that's where Bam Bam went. Larry's like, if you get yourself out here, let me take a look at you. As soon as I got off the plane, he's like, oh my God. And I had a mohawk and this big. And so I went home.
The atypical 80s superstar.
Yeah.
Before you even stepped
Yeah,
in the ring.
yeah.
You had the look
Well,
already.
they're just looking at me going, oh my God. So I went home, told my wife, mind you, now I have a house in Vegas.
Oh,
And we have a child on the way. I'm like,
Oh,
we're
wow.
moving to New Jersey.
How did that go over with Mrs. Father?
She's so used to me just, at that point, that was my first wife.
Mhm.
She was just so used to me being like that guy that she's like, okay. And so I drove to New Jersey. She sold the house, moved to New Jersey. And I started at the Monster Factory. I was maybe at the Monster Factory 6 months at the most. And me and Larry Sharp are doing more drinking, chasing women than we are in the ring, and honestly. And Jerry the King Lawler shows up. And so he said, hey kid, he goes, I want to bring you to Memphis. I'm going to pay you this. I think it was $500 a week. And that was
good
a
money
good
for that
time there. I used to
territory.
make $300, $400, $500 a day, but it wasn't about that. I'm like,
Right.
okay. I think he said we're gonna pay you $500 a week in Memphis, which was good money. He goes, and I'm gonna do a program with you, and then after that, we'll see. So my very first match ever, no practice match, no warm up match, no exhibition match. I knew how to lock up, throw a kick, a punch, and for some reason they taught me a drop down toe hold. I think I was there that day that they were teaching that. Okay, so my very first match was against Jerry the King Lawler, and I went over.
Really?
My very first match, I became the Memphis heavyweight champion.
Now, was that at the TV studio or the Mid-South
No,
Coliseum?
that was at Memphis Mid-South Coliseum
Wow, so that was
on
a
a
Monday night, a big Monday night show.
Right,
Wow.
yeah. That was my first match.
So Jerry Lawler was so taken aback by your look, he just said, well, for what he may lack in skill and knowledge thus far, we can try and make up for it. Just
No,
on
he
the
told me.
appearance? What did he say?
Listen to me, kid, I'll get you through it. And he'd tell me, get your chest up, yell at the people, drop it down. He would tell me everything what to do. And that's how I started.
And how did it go?
It went great. It went great. So we did our program. And so at the end, they said, well, we'd like to keep you here. They said, but you're so green, we need to bring somebody else in. So they said, we're going to bring this tall, redheaded kid in.
Oh,
His name's Texas Red.
I know where this one's
And
going.
so they said, his name's Mark Calloway. So they brought Mark in, and he tells a story on the Stone Cold podcast. That you guys, I'm going to get into that story. But we had a match, excuse me, against each other, and it was so horrible that they said, we're going to put you two together. So they made us a tag team. And we were called Death Express.
Death Express?
Yes.
Never knew that.
I'll show you pictures of that. I have on my phone of me and him as a tag team. And from that point, we're not even brothers, man. I mean, we're more, that dude's my family, and we're more than friends. And we've been really good friends ever since that to this day. I'm doing actually a shoot with him, a gun shooting thing at the end of this month. but we talk all the time.
For fun or on TV?
I don't think it's going to be on TV. It's a company that he works with. It's like a 3-day event. You shoot one day, golf tournament, this and that.
So it's a variety.
Go up in helicopters and shoot targets. It's one of those type of things.
Well, if you want to mention the Paul Bearer toy drive, I don't know if he's familiar with it, but please.
I will.
Please, tell him.
I'm sure there's going to be, yeah.
I'm sure he'd love to be involved if you knew about it, even just sending a couple of pictures along or something.
Yeah, I will get a hold of him about that. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Nothing against a woman near and dear to my heart, who I like to call Mrs. Claus in Stamford, Connecticut, with her wonderful British accent. But for whatever reason, she never put that 2 and 2 together, even though I dropped the hint. But nothing against her, because without her, it would be no toy drive.
She's the best.
She is the sticking glue. I was disappointed she wasn't able to come this year because nothing huge, but just a little health problem where she wouldn't want to risk traveling. But it was a shame I didn't get to see her in person this year. You know, one thing that bothered me every year is a thank you leading up to Christmas because of the toy drive. I always send along a nice big Christmas bouquet to her, and I had no way to send it last year because of coronavirus.
Oh, man.
So we're going to have to go big in 2021. I don't even know if she's back at Titan Tower yet.
She is. I think she's, now that Howard's no longer with us, I think she's the longest running employee there. Her employee number is probably 1, 2, or 3.
She started in '86.
Not before that, you sure?
I know it was '86. Howard and Ed Cohen, they hired the two of them in '82.
Yeah.
But I don't know of anyone in between. I know Tim White's been around a long time, but I don't know
I
about
hope she's okay. They didn't call me this year. Did the WWE have a table?
They had 2.
Yeah, they usually have 2 tables.
And out of 20 seats, they had 5 people from WWE.
Nobody called. Well, I wasn't here anyway.
You wouldn't have been able to do it anyway, right?
Yeah,
isn't that funny that they didn't call you? Yeah. So they.
It's probably because Sue probably wasn't involved with it. She's the one that always calls me, and because Sue's a trooper. Sue would go to Cheetahs too. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, kid yourself. Sue's hipper than she is.
I know Marty Jannetty on one of our shows told us the story about how she was the lady love of one of the New York Jets for a period of time. Sue was
she had it going on.
She may be one of the most lovable, kind, giving human beings you'll ever meet, but she's got that fun side too. Good for her.
Yes, she
I didn't know she made it to the club.
More than once. I'm gonna be quiet, but believe me, Susan. It wasn't her first time in a club, I'll tell you that.
She earned the Warrior Award, I guess.
Yes, she did. God bless her. She's great.
In more ways than one, I guess she was a warrior.
People. And,
no, definitely. No,
especially what she's done for the Make-A-Wish Foundation all over these years. So,
people mention, and with Just Do, that John Cena has done over 500 Make-A-Wishes and more than any other actor, celebrity, athlete in the world. But if you really want to look at the person that's done the most, it's Sue Aitchison.
Yes.
She's involved in every single one of them with every single superstar that's involved.
You're right.
And I loved when she said it because it just speaks to her heart and her character and integrity. She said, I never had any kids of my own. I look at each one of those kids as my own.
Oh,
and isn't that just a nice thing to say?
Yeah, I just hope she's okay.
No, it doesn't. As far as I know, it has zero reason to worry. Traveling is just something right now.
Yeah.
She's just working out of the house. And you know what? Hey, good for her. I'm glad she's still with them. You know what I mean? Like you said, since 1986. That's a hell of a run in WWE.
Yes, sir.
There are guys that are lucky to make 12 months nowadays with the number of the releases that they have. But so tell us about, was it the Nightmare Express that you were called?
Death Express.
Death Express, okay.
He was Master of Pain.
Okay.
And I was Soul Taker.
Soul Taker and Master of Pain.
And
Death
then,
Express.
And then we were together for a short time because he went to Japan. When he came back from Japan, I went to Japan.
Oh, I didn't even know you know that part of it. Who'd you work for in Japan?
That was Inoki.
New Japan. Okay, yep.
And so when he got back from Japan, I kind of went in as his understudy. And then when I got back from Japan, he was in WCW as me, Mark. And then I went to Germany and worked for Otto Wanz.
Really? Okay.
Listen who's on that card. Chris Benoit, Owen Hart, Vic Finley, Dave Taylor, Scott Hall, PM News. I mean, Rambo. Thus, we were there for like 8 months.
And you know what? For the fans at home that may not be familiar with the the German wrestling experience.
Catch
Explain how it's different than
You
most
do it in
parts of the world.
rounds.
Yeah.
They're in rounds. It's a lot different, and you have breaks, but I don't know if they're still doing it, but it would draw every night, and you would be in Hanover for 5 weeks, 6 weeks, and you'd go to Dortmund for so many weeks.
It was almost like the circus.
Yes.
Yeah.
You followed the Oktoberfest. It was, and you stayed in caravans, like trailers, and you were right outside the building. And I didn't stay in it, but most of the boys, for some reason, I
you
was
had other
always,
places to find.
well, for some reason, I've always been able to talk to the girls. So I would stay, I swear to you, this is true. I didn't speak Deutsch, right? So I would take my bag and I'd go to the club or the Topfhaven or whatever they were called. And Dave Taylor would speak German to girls and he would talk to them and they'd be like, I would go home and live with them for like 2 or 3 weeks. I would drive their car, go pick up Scott Hall, Owen Hart. I'd pick us up and go to the gym, drive us around. Oh, dude, I had the time of my life in Germany.
And you said you stayed there about 8 months?
Yes, 7, 8. We were in Austria too, Wien, Graz, Seeborn. We were in really around. And so when I came back from that, Taker was in WCW or WWE at the time. And so I got a tryout and Vince hired me. And he says, I'm going to put you on payroll. He goes, I got a problem. I got to do something with your face. He goes, you got a body of a monster, but you have a baby face. And he goes, I want you to be a heel. So he goes, we got to come up with something. Hence, Papa Shelby.
Well, we're going to get there as time goes on. We're getting the wrap-up cue from Captain Lou in the back. Right now, we're going to take a brief time out. We'll be back with more Wrestling Insider Special Edition. Stand by.
Wrestling fans looking for the perfect holiday gift? Discount VIP packages and tickets to Boston Wrestling's Soul Survivor 10 Back to the 80s, Saturday night, April the 16th at Memorial Hall in Melrose, Massachusetts are on sale now. Join WWE Hall of Famer Jake the Snake Roberts, 3-time WWE Tag Team Champions Axe and Smash Demolition, The Wild Berzerker, and more 1980s legends to be announced. Take part in a VIP exclusive Q&A session. Meet the wrestling icons up close and personal in an autograph and photo fan fest. Then get ready as the superstars and legends of yesterday, today, and tomorrow take part in a night of white-hot in-ring action. Discount VIP packages and tickets are on sale now for a limited time at bostonwrestling.com. Join us for a professional wrestling reunion decades in the making, April the 16th. Wrestling fans, we warned you this day would come. Unfortunately, we're running out of original episodes of Wrestling Insider's Party with Marty each and every Thursday night at 10 p.m., but we're starting up that Indiegogo. You can help the cause. You can help Marty's show continue each and every week. Nobody does it like Marty. We had an incredible time with him at our 20th anniversary bash, November 13th at Memorial Hall here in Melrose. We want to have the good times keep on rolling, but we can't do it without you. Look for the Indiegogo link in the comment section below or across our website and social media platforms. We have some great perks, great rewards where you can even meet Marty himself. There's nothing like it. Since July of 2020, every week we've brought you the show. We need your help to keep on going. We tell you, without wrestling fans, there is no professional wrestling, and there's no better time to help the cause now. Let's keep Marty rocking each and every Thursday night.
Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marty.
And I'm Mr. USA WWE Hall of Famer Tony Atlas.
The road to WrestleMania has begun. Wrestling fans are looking to add to their man caves. You got to see what we have in the eBay store.
Check it out.
Arguably the greatest professional wrestler of all time. Get this limited edition collector's autograph print personally signed by 2-time WWE Hall of Famer Nature Boy Ric Flair, inscribed 16 times for each of his recognized World Championship reigns. One of only 50 made direct from our friends at WWE. Also signed by original artist Rob Schamberger. Help keep wrestling legends working. Get this awesome Ric Flair collectible for your wrestling collection now. Wrestling fans, get ready for a weekend of the unpredictable as the Berzerker, John Nord, returns to MWF Studios in Melrose the weekend of Saturday, January the 22nd. Wrestling Insider Throwback Thursday tapings, live episodes, watch-alongs, cyber autograph signings, and more. Boston Wrestling Patreon fans can meet the Berzerker for free. For more information and mail order info, head on over to thebostonwrestling.com super site now. Don't miss the Berzerker, January 22nd.
All right, wrestling fans, welcome back to the third and final segment. Don't be too disappointed. It's not going to be the only time he's here with us. But the final segment of this episode, learning things about the gentleman I didn't even know about. I knew about Memphis. I had no idea that you were making those trips over to New Japan and to Germany. Did you interact at all in Memphis with another great friend of the show, a man that I think the world of, Dirty Dutch Mantel? I'm going to take that as a yes.
Here's Dirty Dutch. Can you chew tobacco? He called me Soul. Hey, Soul. Hey, listen here, so Dirty Dutch tried to fire me.
Why?
Probably because I couldn't work.
Really?
And, but I mean, we were drawing. He's like, hey, so sorry, but we're gonna have to let you go. And he goes, we're gonna finish you up this week and wish you the best. And I'm like, I'm cool. I always had strip clubs. That's why you've always seen me come and go, because I always had.
You had great backup.
If it wasn't about the money for me in wrestling, that's a whole other story. It was about having fun. So when I wasn't having fun, I'd be like, well, I just go back home
Go have fun.
and make money doing nothing. But so then I went to Lawler and I'm like, thanks for bringing me out here and this and that. And I was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, Dust just finished me up. He goes, no. He goes, no. I don't. He goes, no, you're not finished up. And so I never heard another thing about it. But Jerry said, no, you're not finished up. So.
You think he was just ribbing you, or was that
I think
the office?
I think maybe Jarrett or somebody, not Jeff Jarrett, but maybe Jarrett gave him a little bit of power and went through. And he's like, well, I'm gonna clean up. I'm gonna get rid of him, and without checking with people. And they're like, no, you're not getting rid of him. He's one of the only monsters we got.
And what about memories of one of the last of the Mohegans when it comes to the territorial promoters? Jerry Jarrett himself. Any memories of him?
We used to do all of our interviews at his house, I think, on Saturdays.
At his home?
Yes, at his home, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we would do them at the
studio? Or?
No, yes, he had a little studio in his house. Nice property out there in Tennessee. But only time I seen him is when we taped interviews. But
That's
he was
it,
always,
really?
he was never like down at the arenas and stuff. It was always Jerry running things, Mr. Coffee, and those type of people. But, I never see him around the buildings. We'd see him when we had to go cut interviews at his house.
That's interesting. I'd never heard that before.
Yeah.
And then what about a young Jeff Jarrett, who you must have been around?
I've been around Jeff. Good guy. I have no problems with Jeff. Had some great matches with him.
Did you?
Good dude. I have no problems with Jeff Jarrett whatsoever.
Interesting. How many people could look at pro wrestling and say, I'm a third-generation superstar? And at the top of that list, of the family lineage, was my grandmother.
Yeah, right.
Teeny Jarrett, who used to promote
Right.
cities in the Memphis territory. So, I mean, Jeff is someone I'd love to sit down on one of these interviews and pick his brain. What an interesting, family life to say that their grandmother was a professional wrestling promoter.
Yeah.
Again, just the unique individuals we come across on our journey in this business.
That's why when I hear things like this, I try to catch them. You just learn so much about it. I've known that guy for 20 years, and I didn't know that, and I didn't know that. And I'm like, it's pretty interesting. People have no idea I am so different than what people think I probably am.
Sure. And that's why they're fun, like you just said. What about Bill Dundee? He was someone that would book from time to time.
The Giant Killer. I didn't have any problems with the mates, just the mates. Taker didn't really care for him, and Taker stretched him one time.
Oh, did he?
Oh yeah, on his way out. But I didn't work with Bill that much. I didn't have no problems with him. But he was over for a little midget.
For a little midget, I like that.
That little midget would want to. If you'd help him, he'd try to power slam you.
Not the most physically imposing professional wrestler I think one has ever seen.
Yeah.
Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, but he was over. I mean,
that territory, yeah.
In Memphis, he was over.
Yeah. Any other unique entities that you may have come across that fans may be familiar with during that time period in USWA?
Oh my God, there was Chris Candido.
Candido is around the same.
Chris Champion. I remember guys by like Buff Bagwell was the handsome stranger.
Didn't he wear like a little man?
Yes, like a Chippendale.
Yeah.
Raven. He was
in Memphis, really?
Yes, he was Chris Champion.
I didn't know that.
He was Chris Champion.
Wow.
He had a brother. Another champion. I don't know if it was his real brother or not.
Or maybe it worked.
Dirty Dutch Mantell, Dirty White Boy, Dirty White Girl, Kevin Dillinger, Brian Lee. Brian Lee was there.
The evil Undertaker.
Yes,
That's
evil.
right. Yeah,
Brian Lee was there. Robert Fuller was there. Jeff Jarrett was there. Lawler was there. Dundee was there. I mean,
It was a heck of a territory.
Yeah, man, and we ran religiously.
And did you notice that a lot of the guys would run into the troubles that we mentioned earlier, as far as when you said I was coming in for $500 a week, I almost choked. Because you hear the stories of, the guys that, like, I remember Marty Jannetty, he does a show with us every Thursday night, which I'm sure you watch religiously. But he said, it was so bad that him, Sean, and the Nasty Boys lived in a one-bedroom apartment together. They'd all kind of flip-flop and share, and that was the only way they could make ends meet.
I came in as a $500 a week guarantee. After that Lawler run,
it changed. I
start making $30 on a Monday and $40 on a Tuesday, and Evansville, Indiana, make $25. All of a sudden, now you're getting paid on Wednesdays, and after a week, you made $90.
Oh,
okay, and we're staying 3 to a room, and I always thank God I always had money put away, but I mean, you roughed it. I would stay with strippers. I would the Admiral Bimbos, I think they were called, at the hotels, and I would stay with the strippers that would like at the weekly rooms. Oh yeah, I'd have 2 or 3 stripper girls that I'd live with. They took care of us, and yeah, man.
Isn't it funny? I hate to say it, but Tony Atlas is a unique entity in and of himself with his feet. But we replaced his talk show not too long ago with one aimed more towards the ambiance and the superstars in the era that was ECW, which is still loved by many. And we had New Jack in the studio just 6 days before he passed.
Wow.
It was very eerie. But he talked about his Memphis experience and so on and so forth. And he said the way they would make ends meet was that after the shows, him and Mustafa, wherever they were, they would try and find rats that had places of their own.
Rats or
and they would.
You had to survive. They would cook for you, give you someplace to eat.
Laundry. Maybe the biggest perk is if they do the laundry. Yeah.
I mean, we were rough with it, man. I mean, it'd be me, Taker, Dirty White Boy, Dirty White Girl in a Ford Escort, driving 200 miles from Nashville to Memphis to make $40 a piece.
Isn't it crazy that the sacrifice that you guys went through for literally nothing? But in the end of the day, it's all about the journey. And look at what your train, no pun intended, has been. Starting out and moving all the way across the country to New Jersey, going up to Memphis,
all over the
Japan.
country.
I'm sorry, New Japan. Those unique German experiences that you had working that. I've never heard of an atmosphere like I've heard about Germany as far as those
great. People were
carnival-like atmosphere.
Great. Crowds were great.
Nice people too?
Nice, really nice. Well, real nice.
Well, I don't know if his name will ever come up again, but what about Otto himself? What was he like as a promoter?
Great promoter, him and Dennis Williams. But Otto was the great promoter, great guy, great to work with. I think he passed maybe 10 years ago or so. But a lot of people don't know about Otto. He had a record for ripping phone books in half.
Did he?
He had the record in Germany or maybe the Guinness World Book of Records on how fast he could rip a phone book. And that was his strongman thing. And he had a roll that Cannonball Grizzly used. The Big Otto was his finish where he'd just roll over you. And that would be the big. It was a great learning experience for me.
And you worked every night.
Every night.
In the same city for weeks.
Now, you might have the night off, but they ran. And then on Saturdays, they had a free show. But the Hills weren't usually part of that. I was Rocky Las Vegas.
That was your name?
Yes.
Rocky
and I
Las
beat,
Vegas?
At the very last match, it's for the Catch Cup, I beat Scott Hall. It was the Catch champion that year.
Really?
I beat Scott Hall.
Well, what a trivia question that's going to be someday. If we
Catch champion.
Do you remember your battle for the Catch championship over in Germany and who you put over to not win it?
Yeah.
I have to throw that out at him.
Yes, sir.
But I thought Otto Wanz not that I know a heck of a lot about him. I know John Layfield had some interesting stories about him over
That's
the
where I
years.
met John out there.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
He was out there too at that
He
around that
came
same
in.
time?
Excuse me. I came back to do Stan Hansen was there, Terry Funk.
Oh, wow.
I was Papa Shango, and we came back in the territory for Bremen as their big show at the end of the year, I think November. And that's when I met John.
Really?
Yeah.
And what, for the heck of it, memories of a very, very young, green John Layfield.
I
at that
remember
point.
that me and my wife in there. In a lot of those hotels, they only have one bathroom for like the whole hallway. There's one bathroom.
Oh my God.
And that's how a lot of those in Australia and Germany, a lot of them, you're in small little towns. And I told him, I said, I'll come, but I want to stay in a hotel that has my own bathroom. And so when I got to the hotel, I didn't have my own bathroom. So I kind of did a little diva fit about it. And I remember John's like, hey, Al, and I'm like, John, nothing against you guys staying in these places, but that wasn't my deal. And I said, if you're going to learn one thing, if they have a deal, don't let them break it, or they'll be breaking it all the time. They promised me a bathroom.
Give them an inch.
Yeah.
Take a
And
mile.
so they booked me in another hotel that had a bathroom. And that was my first encounter. And John always like, I remember you telling me that, because that was so true. I'm like, dude, stick with the deal. I'm living up to my side, now you live up to yours.
Well, you know what? I hope he is someone that, as we continue this great interview series, will come up much further down the road. But, I think there's so many misconceptions online by people that have never met him. I think the world of him. I think he's a great guy. WWE was kind enough to let him do some work with us when he was the Intercontinental Champion, which is a lot for a regional independent promotion such as ours to have the Intercontinental Champion as part of the face and part of the angles and so on. And no one's perfect, especially in wrestling. There are some people that may be a little too sensitive to be part of our industry and take things the wrong way. Not everybody that was almost like me. I'd love to be the first baseman for the Boston Red Sox, but I don't think that was meant to be. You know what I mean? And the same can go for wrestling. It is not for everybody. And there are the Rons and the Johns and the Bobs and they would weed out those that didn't exactly belong.
I
all
would
the
never
time.
call John a bully. He's old school. And
Yeah.
he was brought up,
Yeah.
Billy Duncan and all guys and the Lanzas and the Blackjack. He was brought up old school, so he kept those old school beliefs and old locker room beliefs. So, a lot of, like people today probably no way they can handle somebody like John, but he was just, he didn't go around just bullying people. I never seen that side of him. And I spent a lot of time with him and Ron. A lot of times. I've been in a lot of fights with those two guys. We've been in a lot of country bars. Ron and John weren't strip club guys. They were country bar. Ron would just
Ron was a country music
Ron
guy?
didn't care. Ron didn't care what it was.
He just wanted something to
He
drink.
just wanted to go out and have a drink. Bradshaws, but I like, believe it or not, I like the country bars. I got in a lot of fights in those places.
All right, wrestling fans, right now we're going to take a brief time out. When we come back, we are going to wrap up the journey with the one, the only, the Hall of Famer, choo-choo, the Godfather. Stand by.
Wrestling fans looking for the perfect holiday gift? Discount VIP packages and tickets to Boston Wrestling's Soul Survivor 10 Back to the 80s, Saturday night, April the 16th at Memorial Hall in Melrose, Massachusetts are on sale now. Join WWE Hall of Famer Jake the Snake Roberts, three-time WWE Tag Team Champions Axe and Smash Demolition, The Wild Berzerker, and more 1980s legends to be announced. Take part in a VIP exclusive Q&A session. Meet the wrestling icons up close and personal in an autograph and photo fan fest. Then get ready as the superstars and legends of yesterday, today, and tomorrow take part in a night of white-hot in-ring action. Discount VIP packages and tickets are on sale now for a limited time at bostonwrestling.com. Join us for a professional wrestling reunion decades in the making, April the 16th. Wrestling fans, we warned you this day would come. Unfortunately, we're running out of original episodes of Wrestling Insider's Party with Marty each and every Thursday night at 10 p.m., but we're starting up that Indiegogo. You can help the cause. You can help Marty's show continue each and every week. Nobody does it like Marty. We had an incredible time with him at our 20th anniversary bash, November 13th at Memorial Hall here in Melrose. We want to have the good times keep on rolling, but we can't do it without you. Look for the Indiegogo link in the comment section below or across our website and social media platforms. We have some great perks, great rewards where you can even meet Marty himself. There's nothing like it. Since July of 2020, every week we've brought you the show. We need your help to keep on going. We tell you, without wrestling fans, there is no professional wrestling, and there's no better time to help the cause now. Let's keep Marty rocking each and every Thursday night.
Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marotti.
And I'm John Cena Sr.
Johnny, the momentum here in Boston wrestling continues as we continue to build and build and build. The fans want to know, how do we help? We subscribe to the Patreon, but we see all the great merchandise on that set. Coronavirus may have killed the nightlife, especially for someone like Marty, but our acclaimed eBay store is open 24/7 around the world.
Wow. Check it out.
The Undisputed Era kicked ass and took no prisoners in WWE NXT. Now you can own this limited edition collector's autographed art print personally signed by Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly, and Bobby Fish. Also signed by the original artist, Rob Schamberger, one of only 50 made direct from our friends at WWE. Help keep wrestling legends working. Get this awesome collectible for your collection now.
All right, wrestling fans, we had so much fun catching up with our old friend, the Godfather, which means I think we only have to do it again several more times.
Oh, of course.
I would love to turn this into a regular thing, but you know who's in charge? Not me. Them. If they want you gotta tell us. We have that premiere chat box open during the premiere of the show after AEW on Wednesday nights. Share your thoughts on the show. Let us know what you think. The super chat button is open. That helps us keep the lights on. If you give us a big thumbs up, if you subscribe to the channel, that lets the YouTube algorithms, I don't even know what an algorithm is, but it lets these...
It's hard to say.
Yeah, it is hard to say. It lets them know that you like us. There are millions of fans that left wrestling after the big 80s boom. There are millions of fans that left after the Attitude Era and the Monday Night Wars. And even though they might not enjoy pro wrestling as much in 2021, they might find talk shows like this and absolutely love them. So spread the word. Let us know we're here. Until we speak again, folks, you and yours, be well, stay healthy. Good night from Las Vegas.
Thank you for joining us. Please give the video a big thumbs up, leave us a comment, and subscribe to the channel to enjoy more great content. Don't forget, you can help keep wrestling legends working. Check out our eBay store and join the Boston Wrestling family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling so we can produce more in-depth shoot interviews.